The Serbs of Croatia or Croatian Serbs constitute the largest national minority in Croatia. There has been a substantial Serb population in Croatia since the Middle Ages, although the population has been declining. Overview. Traditional elements of identity of the Orthodox faith, Cyrillic script and military history, while modern elements are language and literature, civic, social and political values, concern for ethnic status and national organization, and celebration of the liberation of Yugoslavia. According to the 2011 census, there were 186,633 ethnic Serbs living in Croatia, 4.4% of the total population. The number was reduced by more than two-thirds in the aftermath of the 1991–95 war in Croatia, as the 1991 pre-war census had reported 581,663 Serbs living in Croatia, 12.2% of the total population. History. Middle Ages. According to De Administrando Imperio, the Serbs settled in parts of modern-day Croatia during the rule of Heraclius and soon formed a Serbian state which stretched across parts of modern-day Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro and Serbia. The lands of Pagania, Zacumlia and Travunia were inhabited by Serbs. According to the Royal Frankish Annals, Duke of Pannonia Ludovic Pozovsky fled during the Frankish invasion from his seat in Sisak to the Serbs in western Bosnia, who controlled a great part of Dalmatia. The event would have taken place during the rule of either Radoslav or his son, Prozagoj. In the 880s, the Serb Prince Mutimir exiled his two brothers due to treachery, but kept his nephew Peter at the court. Peter later fled to the Croatian Principality. When Mutimir's son Pribislav had ruled for a year, Peter returned and defeated him, making him flee with his brothers Bran and Stefan to Croatia. In 894 Bran returned but was defeated and blinded. Pavla, the son of Bran, later returned and defeated Pavla with Bulgarian aid. King Mihailo I built the St. Michael's Church in Ston, which has a fresco depicting him. Milos Vukanović, a member of the Serb Vukanović dynasty, was given the title of Ban of Croatia by the Kingdom of Hungary and ruled 1142 to 1158 and briefly in 1163. In 1222, the King of Serbia Stefan Privovenkani gifted Mljet Babino Polja, the St. Vit Church on Korčula, Janan and Popoviluka and churches of St. Stephen and St. George, to a Benedictine monastery on Mljet. The first Serbian Orthodox monastery in Croatia, Krupa, was built in 1317 by Stephen II Milutin of Serbia. Other medieval monuments include Krka and Dragović. Many monasteries and churches were damaged in the war in Croatia. In 1333 the Republic of Ragusa bought the Pelješac Peninsula and the coastland between Ston and Dubrovnik from Serbian King Stefan Dušan. The Ragusans promised freedom of religion to the Orthodox Serbs. Members of the Orlović Serb clan settled in Lika and Say in 1432. They later joined the Uskoks. On the 22nd of November 1447, the Hungarian King Ladislaus V read a letter which mentioned Rashkans, who live in our cities of Medvedgrad, Rakovac, both Kalinik and in Koprivnica. Ottoman conquest and Habsburg Empire. As many former inhabitants of the Austrian-Ottoman borderland fled northwards or were captured by the Ottoman invaders. They left unpopulated areas. The Austrian Empire encouraged people from the Ottoman Empire to settle as free peasant soldiers, establishing the military frontiers in 1522. They were mostly, not only of Orthodox faith, Serbs and Vlachs. The militarized frontier would serve as a buffer against Ottoman incursions. The military frontiers had territory of modern Croatia, Serbia, Romania and Hungary. The colonists were granted small tracts of land, exempted from some obligations, and were to retain a share of all war booty. The Grenzers elected their own captains and magistrates. All Orthodox settlers were promised freedom of worship. By 1538, the Croatian and Slavonian military frontier were established. Serbs acted as the cordon sanitaire against Turkish incursions from the Ottoman Empire. The military frontiers are virtually identical to the present Serbian settlements. According to Croatian writer Branimir Antzulovic, native Vlachs of Croatia adopted the Croatian language prior to the Ottoman conquest, but still identified themselves as Vlachs, and the places with Vlach majority enjoyed privileges under the Statute of Alocorum. Catholic Vlachs were assimilated into Croats, while the Orthodox, under the Serbian Orthodox Church, identified with Serbs. Antzulovic claims that the Serbianized Vlachs became the bulk of the Serbian population in Croatia. According to David Kidd-Eklund, majority of the population of the Croatian military frontier were Orthodox Vlachs, originating from southern and central Balkans, who, under assimilation, spoke South Slavic language. In 1593, Provedite General Cristoforo Valia mentions three nations constituting the Uskoks, natives of say, Croatians, and Morlachs from the Turkish parts. Many of the Uskoks, who fought a guerrilla war with the Ottoman Empire, were Serbs, who fled from Ottoman Turkish rule and settled in White Carniola and Zumberak. A letter of Emperor Ferdinand, sent on November 6, 1538, to Croatian Ban Peter Keglevic, in which he wrote captains and dukes of the Racians, or the Serbs, or the Vlachs, who are commonly called the Serbs. Tihomir Thordovic points to the already known fact that the name Vlach didn't only refer to genuine Vlachs or Serbs but also to cattle breeders in general. In the Venetian documents from late 16th and 17th century, was used name Morlachs for immigrants from conquested territory previously of Croatian and Bosnian kingdoms by Ottoman Empire. They were of both Orthodox and Catholic faith, settled in inland of the coastal cities of Dalmatia, and entered the military service of both Venice and Ottoman Empire. The military border was returned in 1881 to the Kingdom of Croatia-Slavonia. In 1918, it became part of the state of Slovenes, Croats and Serbs, which immediately joined the Kingdom of Serbia to form the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. World War II. Following the invasion of Yugoslavia in April 1941, Axis powers occupied the entire territory of the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. On the territory of the present-day Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia, a puppet state called the Independent State of Croatia was created, led by the Ustaes, a fascist Croatian movement. The Ustaes government saw Serbs as disrupting element and immediately embarked on program of ethnic cleansing and genocide. They went on to create concentration camps in which Serbs, Jews, Gypsies, anti-fascist Croats and homosexuals perished in large numbers, the most notorious of which was the Jasenovac concentration camp. According to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, between 320,000 and 340,000 Serbs were killed by the Ustaes of their allies during World War II. The main paramilitary force Serbs of Croatia were involved with were the Yugoslav partisans, which was particularly strong in regions of Lika, Kordun and Banija. They were connected with partisans in Bosanska Krajina. They were the main recruiting ground for the Yugoslav partisans besides Serbia and Montenegro due to the genocide and ethnic cleansing independent. state of Croatia was conducting against civilian Serb population. Because of this, some of the main operations, battles and free territories were in the areas populated by Serbs in Bosnian Krajina and adjacent areas. In Dalmatia, main resistance movement were the Chetniks. In March 1942 the Chetniks formed the Dinara division, led by Orthodox priest Momcilo Thuzic. This unit had a program to defend Serb population from the Ustase-led genocide, with arms and political activity. During the war, this division was involved in ethnic cleansing of this area. Chetniks in Croatia collaborated with Fascist Italy to achieve the goals of protecting Serb civilians from genocide. In return, they guaranteed Italian safety and defended them from the partisans. Estimation of the priest Momcilo Thuzic was that they saved as many as 500,000 Serbs in Dalmatia, Lika and Bosanska Krajina, Socialist Yugoslavia during the Second World War. At the second and third sessions of the National Anti-Fascist Council of the People's Liberation of Croatia held in October 1943 and May 1944, respectively, the equality of the Serbian and Croatian nations as constituent nations of the federal unit of Croatia was recognized in every aspect. Later, in 1963, the Croatian constitution did not mention the Serbs in Croatia as constituent nation of Senior Croatia, but with the constitutional amendments of 1971 this was now explicitly done in order to guarantee the rights of the Serbs in Croatia. This formulation implied that Croatia was not the national state of the Croats, but stated that Croatia was the land of Croats and Serbs. Then, on the 22nd of December 1990, HDZ government of Franjo Tudman promulgated a new Croatian constitution that changed the wording with regard to Serbs of Croatia. In the first paragraph of the Article 12, Croatian was specified as the official language and alphabet, and dual language road signs were torn down even in Serb-majority areas. Furthermore, a number of Serbs were removed from the bureaucracies and the police and replaced by ethnic Croats. Many Serbs in government lost their jobs, and HDZ made themselves target of Serbian propaganda by having party members attempting to rehabilitate the World War II Croatian fascist movement Ustase, or by saying that the numbers of people killed in Jasenovac concentration camp were inflated. The party representing the interests of Serbs in Croatia, the Serbian Democratic Party, which rejected the new constitution, began building its own national governmental entity in order to preserve rights that Serbs saw as being stripped away and to enhance the sovereignty of the Croatian Serbs. War in Croatia amid political changes during the breakup of Yugoslavia and following the Croatian Democratic Union's victory in the 1990 general election, the Croatian parliament ratified a new constitution in December 1990 where Serbs were listed with other nations and minorities. On a practical level, it became obvious that jobs, property rights, and even residence status depended on having Croatian citizenship, which was not an automatic right for non-Croats. The percentage of those declaring themselves as Serbs, according to the 1991 census, was 12.2%, although today Serbs are able to return to Croatia. In reality, a majority of Serbs who left during organized evacuation in 1995 choose to remain citizens of other countries in which they gained citizenship. Consequently, today Serbs constitute 4% of Croatian population, down from the pre-war population of 12%. Before the Croatian War of Independence, part of the Croatian Serbs rebelled and led a military campaign against the Croatian state, creating an unrecognized state called Republic of Serbian Krajina in hopes of achieving independence, international recognition, and complete self-governance from the government of Croatia. The rebellion was incited from Serbia, as the popularity of the unification of Serbian people into a greater Serbia with Serbia proper increased. The rebellion against the Croatian rule also increased. While some Serb politicians from Croatia sought a peaceful solution, others organized Serb parties in the Croatian government-controlled areas, like Milan Thukic. Some of them unsuccessfully tried to organize the parties in the rebelled areas, but the work was prevented by Serb warmongers. The Republic of Croatia had de facto control over one-third of Croatian territory during its existence between 1991 and 1995, but failed to gain international recognition. The war ended with a military success in Operation Storm in 1995 and subsequent peaceful reintegration of the remaining renegade territory in eastern Slavonia in 1998 as a result of the signed Erdut Agreement from 1995. Local Serbs are, on the ground that agreement, established the Serb National Council and gained the right to establish the Joint Council of Municipalities. The exodus of Serbs in 1995 was prompted by the advance of the Croatian troops, but was mostly self-organized rather than forced. All Serbs were officially called upon to stay in Croatia shortly before the operation. Many Croat refugees moved to homes abandoned by Serbs during Operation Storm, ostensibly because the homes were destroyed by the Serbs. At the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia at The Hague, Milan Babic was indicted, pleaded guilty and was convicted for persecutions on political, racial and religious grounds, a crime against humanity. Babic stated during his trial that, during the events, and in particular at the beginning of his political career, he was strongly influenced and misled by Serbian propaganda. A small minority of pre-war Serb population have returned to Croatia. Today, the majority of the pre-war Serb population from Croatia settled in Serbia and Republika Srpska. Modern Croatia tension and violence between Serbs and Croats has reduced since 2000 and has remained low to this day. However, significant problems remain. The participation of the largest Serb party SDSS in the Croatian government of Ivo Sanader eased tensions to an extent, but the refugee situation is still politically sensitive. The main issue is high-level official and social discrimination against the Serbs. At the height levels of the government, new laws are continuously being introduced in order to combat this discrimination, thus demonstrating an effort on the part of government. For example, lengthy and in some cases unfair proceedings, particularly in lower-level courts, remain a major problem for Serbian returnees pursuing the rights in court. In addition, Serbs continue to be discriminated against in access to employment and in realizing other economic and social rights. Also, some cases of violence and harassment against Croatian Serbs continue to be reported. The property laws allegedly favor Bosnian Croats refugees who took residence in houses that were left unoccupied and unguarded by Serbs after Operation Storm. Amnesty International's 2005 report considers one of the greatest obstacles to the return of thousands of Croatian Serbs has been the failure of the Croatian authorities to provide adequate housing solutions to Croatian Serbs who were stripped of their occupancy rights, including where possible by reinstating occupancy rights to those who had been affected by their discriminatory termination. The European Court of Human Rights decided against Croatian Serb Kristina Blesic, stripped her of occupancy rights after leaving her house in 1991 in Zadar. In 2009, the UN Human Rights Committee found a wartime termination of occupancy rights of a Serbian family to violate ICCPR. In 2010, the European Committee on Social Rights found the treatment of Serbs in Croatia in respect of housing to be discriminatory and too slow, thus in violation of Croatian Croatia's obligations under the European Social Charter. In 2015, Amnesty International report that Croatian Serbs continued to face discrimination in public sector employment and the restitution of tenancy rights to social housing vacated during the war. Demographics. According to the 2011 census, there were 186,633 ethnic Serbs living in Croatia, 4.4% of the total population. The number was reduced by more than two-thirds in the aftermath of the 1991–95 war in Croatia, as the 1991 pre-war census had reported 581,663 Serbs living in Croatia, 12.2% of the total population. Counties with significant Serb minority. Cities with significant Serb minority. Municipalities with significant Serb population. Culture. Serbs in Croatia have cultural traditions ranging from kolo dances and singing, which are kept alive today by performances by various folklore groups. Notable traditions include Gul Ikanja singing, Kuvri Ristovo Groba. Religion. Serbs of Croatia are Serbian Orthodox. There are many Orthodox monasteries across Croatia, built since the 14th century. Most notable and historically significant are the Krka Monastery, Krupa Monastery, Dragović Monastery, Lepovina Monastery and Gomiru Monastery. Many Orthodox churches were demolished during World War II and Yugoslav War, while some were rebuilt by the EU funding, Croatian government and Serbian diaspora donations. In the 1560s, a Serbian Orthodox bishop was installed in the Metropolitanate of Požega, seated in the monastery of Remeta. In the 17th century, the Eparchy of Marka was founded at Marka, in the Croatian frontier. These were part of the Serbian Orthodox Patriarchate of Peć, which was re-established in 1557, and lasted under Ottoman governance until 1766. Other bishoprics were founded, although their approval by the Habsburgs hinged on the belief that they would facilitate the union of these Orthodox Christians with the Catholic Church, and in fact, many, including some Orthodox bishops, did unify with Rome. Serbs in the Croatian military frontier were out of the jurisdiction of the Serbian Patriarchate of Pekin in 1611, and after demands from the community, the Pope established the Eparchy of Marka with seat at the Serbian-built Marka Monastery, with a Byzantine vicar instated as bishop subordinate to the Roman Catholic Bishop of Zagreb, working to bring Serbian Orthodox Christians into communion with Rome, which caused struggle of power between the Catholics and the Serbs over the region. In 1695, Orthodox Eparchy of Lika, Krabava and Zedrinopolje was established by Metropolitan Atanasio Ljubović and certified by Emperor Joseph I in 1707. In 1735, the Serbian Orthodox protested in the Marka Monastery and became part of the Serbian Orthodox Church until 1753, when the Pope restored the Roman Catholic clergy. On June 17, 1777, the Eparchy of Krzevci was permanently established by Pope Pius VI, with its episcopal see at Krzevci, near Zagreb, thus forming the Croatian Greek Catholic Church, which would after World War I include other people, the Russians and ethnic Ukrainians of Yugoslavia. Jovan, the Metropolitan of Zagreb and Ljubljana, stated that c. 30,000 Serbs had converted to Catholicism since the Operation Oluja. In the 2011 census regarding religious affiliation, c. 40,000 declared as Serbs of the Orthodox faith, while 160,000 declared as Orthodox language. Serbian language is officially used in 23 cities and municipalities in Croatia. In April 2015, United Nations Human Rights Committee has urged Croatia to ensure the right of minorities to use the language and alphabet. Committee report stated that particularly concerns the use of Serbian Cyrillic in the town of Vukovar and municipalities concerned. Serbian Foreign Minister Ivica Dačić said that his country welcomes the UN Human Rights Committee's report, although 2011 census puts Serbs as the largest national minority in Croatia with 4.4% of the total population. The number of people who had declared Serbian language as the native is 52.879. Politics. Serbs are officially recognized as an autochthonous national minority, and as such they elect 3 representatives to the Croatian parliament. The major Serb party in Croatia is the Independent Democratic Serb Party. In the elections of 2007 and 2011, the SDSS has won all 3 Serbian seats in the parliament. In the cabinet of Ivo Sanader II, the party was part of the ruling coalition led by the conservative Croatian Democratic Union, and SDSS member Slobodan Uzelic held the post of deputy prime minister. There are also ethnic Serb politicians who are members of mainstream political parties, such as the center-left Social Democratic Party's MPs and Milanovic cabinet members Zelko Jovanovic, Branko Grcic and Milanka Opacic. Community in Serbia. Some 350,000 Serbs were resettled in Serbia during and after the Croatian War, of which the larger part took Serbian citizenship. In 2002, there were 284.334 Serbs from Croatia living in Serbia. The majority lived in Vojvodina, then in Central and South Serbia. The largest part of the community stated that they wanted integration, while only 4.3% wanted to return, while there were 27.4% who were undecided. In 2013, California, 45,000 from Croatia still had refugee status in Serbia. Notable people: artists Arsen Dedic, chanson singer; Medo Pusic, writer and politician; Vladan Desnica, writer; Voljan Jelic, poet; Simo Matovalj, novelist; Lukijan Musiki, notable Baroque poet, writer and polyglot; Zaharia Orfalin, 18th-century polymath; Bozidar Petranovic, author, scholar, and journalist; Peter Preradovic, poet and Austrian general; Joseph Runjanin, composer of the Croatian national anthem; Rade Srbedzija, film actor; Peter Kralj, Serbian actor; Slavko Stimac, Serbian actor; Bogdan Diklic, Serbian actor; Neva Celsius, Croatian socialite, model, singer and writer; Konstantin Vovnovic, politician, university professor and rector of the University of Zagreb; Ivo Vovnovic, writer; Toma Rosenduk, prominent sculptor; Matija Ban, poet, playwright; scientists Nikodem Milas, bishop and perhaps the greatest Serbian expert on church law; Nikola Tesla, inventor, mechanical engineer and electrical engineer; Milutin Milankovic, geophysicist and civil engineer, best known for his theory of ice ages; Jovan Karamata, mathematician; Mihailo Merseb, notable cyclist and aviation pioneer; Sima Surkovic, historian; Dejan Medikovic, historian and writer, winner of the Herder Prize; Sava Mrkalj, linguist and poet; Gafo Petrovic, philosopher; Nikola Hajdan, construction engineer and president of SANU; athletes Sinisa Mihailovic, Serbian football manager and former player; Vladimir Bera, football player and manager; Ilya Petkovic, football player and manager; Daniel Lubolja, Serbian football player. Ivan Urgic, Serbian football player. Predrag Stojkovic, Serbian basketball player. Dusko Savanovic, Serbian basketball player. Zoran Erceg, Serbian basketball player. Milan Makvan, Serbian basketball player. Kosta Perovic, Serbian basketball player. Alex Maric, Australian basketball player. Bozidar Malkovic, Serbian basketball coach, former player. Nenad Kanak, Serbian basketball player and manager. Jasna Sekari, Serbian sports shooter, 5-time Olympic medalist, world and European champion. Damir Mikek, Serbian sports shooter. Milos Milosevic, former Croatian swimmer. Andrea Prenovic, Serbian water polo player, 2-time Olympic medalist, world and European champion. Jelena Dokic, tennis player, former world No. 4. Tanja Dragic, Serbian Paralympian athlete. Lubomir Vrakarevic, Serbian martial artist and founder of Real Aikido. Other Miloslav Vukanovic, Serbian Prince Ban of Croatia between 1142 and 1163. Gersim Zelic, Serbian Orthodox Archimandrite, traveler and writer. Svetozar Borovic, Austro-Hungarian field marshal. Momcilo Thuzic, commander in the World War II Chetnik movement. Stephen Supaljikic was a voivode and the first Duke of the Serbian Vojvodina. Stepan Jovanovic, notable military commander of Austrian Empire. Rade Končar, communist leader and legendary World War II resistance fighter. Bosko Buhar, World War II resistance fighter. Serbian Patriarch Pavle, former Serbian Patriarch. Svetozar Pribicevic, early 20th century politician in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. Jovan Raskovic, politician who first called for a Serbian autonomy within Croatia in the 1990s. Slavko Kuruvia, a journalist and newspaper publisher. Joseph Rajasic, Metropolitan of Sremski Karlovci, Serbian Patriarch, administrator of Serbian Vojvodina and Baron. Jovo Stanislavic Karuga, legendary outlaw in early 20th century Slavonia. Mirko Marjanovic, a former Prime Minister of Serbia and a high-ranking official in Slobodan Milosevic's Socialist Party of Serbia. Nada Dimic, a Yugoslav communist and people's hero of Yugoslavia. Milan Babic, former first president of the self-proclaimed Republic of Serbian Krajina, convicted of war crimes, sentenced to 13 years in prison, committed suicide in his prison cell. Vlado Georgiev, a Serbian pop singer, composer, and lyrics writer.